United USA, here's what's going on in Austria. Check it out.
I'm Freddie Sayers. I'm here in Vienna, the capital of Austria. You can see the Rathaus, the Parliament building, just behind me. And it's an apparently ordinary, quite gloomy November morning. Except it's not actually an ordinary morning, because at midnight last night, a new law came into place, which said that anyone who is not vaccinated is not legally allowed to leave their home except for certain prescribed reasons. In other words, it is the world's first lockdown for the unvaccinated. I wanted to come here to find out, what does a society feel like where a third of the population has been kept at home in mandatory house arrest? What do the people who are walking around feel about that new reality? And perhaps most importantly, what does it feel like for those people stuck at home?
I think it comes much too late. And I think it's very unfair of people who are not for health reasons not taking a vaccine, because that's obvious, you know. But all the others, they're crazy. And all the trouble we have is due to those people who believe in, I don't know, the earth is flat.
So how long would you be happy for them to be stuck at home for?
I don't think that will help, that's the thing. But what makes me hopeful is that now some of those people who refuse to have a vaccine are now thinking of having second thoughts, because they have no access to restaurants, they have no access to theater or anything. And I know people like that do now all of a sudden they're in a hurry to get a vaccine.
So you're not worried that a whole little part of society is just invisible now, stuck at home?
If the majority of society depends on idiots, then we can't be helped, then that's the end of society.
No, I don't think. We had it for everybody some times ago, so I think it's now for a special group, and they should do it.
No, I think it's the right way, because the cases are getting higher and higher and higher, and the problems are the non-vaccinated people. So I'm fine with that.
Isn't it true, though, you can still transmit if you're vaccinated?
What do you mean?
You can still pass the corona on.
I'm not sure. I think everybody should do what we can do, and to be vaccinated, it's the very best option we have. So everybody should do that.
You're not worried?
No, I'm not solidaric with these people, and I believe that it's a good decision from the government.
So you don't feel sorry for them stuck at home?
No, why should be punished for the people who just not have the intention to be vaccinated and integrated in our community.
Do you know anyone who's not vaccinated?
Yes, yesterday, unfortunately, I met a child. He's not going to school today because of lockdown, and I asked him why. I said, because I'm not vaccinated. I said, why? I'm scared about that.
You think that's silly?
No, I don't accept that. And it's not, the parents should encourage kids to get vaccinated.
You don't have to talk to very many people here in the smart, well-heeled shopping part of Old Vienna to get a very clear impression. There is no sympathy for the unvaccinated. There is very strong support for this measure. When you approach people who look maybe like they're making deliveries or passing through rather than shopping at Rolex, you get a slightly different response.
It's a bullshit.
Yeah?
Really, yes.
Why?
Why? The people, they must be free. This is not okay.
And have you been vaccinated?
Yes, I have been vaccinated, yes.
Do you know lots of people who have not?
Yes, I know. But the people is for himself. Always people, they can do what they want.
I don't think it's good.
Yeah?
It's trouble.
Why is that?
Because economically will be down, everything will be not nice.
We have taken refuge from the cold in one of Vienna's many cafes, and I suppose the impression I have so far is of the boiled frog syndrome in action, where because of the strangeness of the past couple of years, the norms have changed so gradually that no one here really thinks that much about the idea of locking up a third of your population in their homes. If the practical effect of it was driving it, that would be one thing. The sense that it could really change the pandemic. If, for example, vaccinated people were not transmitting and only the unvaccinated were the cause of any transmission, that might be a bit more understandable, but you don't find that people are talking about that. And when I raise the fact that vaccinated people can also transmit the disease, people aren't especially interested. And I suppose it feels like it's become more of a class issue. There is a part of society that the rest of society just doesn't like very much. And to watch that in action, to see people's hardening attitude to them as they, instead of thinking this is something sad and reluctant that they have to do but it's necessary, almost quite relish the chance to punish or to draw a line under these people whose behavior is unacceptable. That's quite difficult to watch. We wanted to get a sense of the political situation, so headed over to talk to Ivan Krastev, a political scientist at Vienna's Institute for Human Sciences. What's interesting from an outsider is that the very concept of confining a minority of the population to their homes as an indefinite step seems shocking. It's something that I think it would be very hard to get past in the United Kingdom, for example. How is it that here, and we've been talking to people all morning who don't seem at all fazed by this. They think it's high time, they're uninterested by it, and they have very little patience with the unvaccinated. How did it happen that this step was taken with so little fanfare?
I do believe that here the basic problem is when some of the anti-vaccine people said, we are ready basically to defend our freedoms. The message of the government was, okay, let's see how much price you're ready to pay for this. Because in a certain way, the major idea of this measure is to make these people uncomfortable. They said, okay, you don't want to basically follow. We see you as a kind of a threat to others. And don't forget, in the opinion polls, when you ask people whom you see as the major threat, this is the irresponsible behavior of others. And I do believe, of course, if you're going to put these people to stay home, it's not going to solve many of your problems. But this is
the distrust, increase the paranoia, and therefore create a more divided society here in Austria.
No, listen, for sure.
A lot of people were making the connection that it's not the first time in their history that a minority that was considered unclean and unsavory was confined and much worse. Do you think that is an inappropriate thought to have? In which case, why is that?
I don't believe that.
So, what is the legal basis? How is this even constitutional? Not to make things illegal or mandatory, but just make the kind of so-called choice architecture different. But confining people to their homes is as bad.
No.
So you are Secretary General of the Global Campus on Human Rights. You're a professor out of Venice, but you're currently based here at the University of Applied Arts in Vienna. What's the headline? Is it legitimate and justifiable to take a subsection of the population and commit them to mandatory house arrest in this way?
Yes, I think so.
Civil rights and the ability to choose, if not becoming basically a leper of society. What did one guy say in the interview? People want to make a stand for their freedom, whether they choose to be unvaxxed for whatever reason, but the government says, okay, well, what price are you willing to pay for that choice? That's not freedom. This is like a runaway freight train with no brakes that shows no intention of stopping. So, hit me up. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Check y'all in the next video. Stay tuned.